Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and today we're going to work on something that is a little bit unique. It's something I like to do every once in a while. I'll put a couple flat rides up. I already did a video on flat rides, so you saw this similar setup. Although today I'm using some different cymbals. This is a newer, older Paiste traditional flat ride, and this is a really old prototype Paiste traditional flat ride. When they first started making these, they sent me several, and this was a really good one. And then later on, this is what they came out with, which is also great. It's just a little lower in pitch. So if you listen, they're both really, really nice cymbals. This one I put some rivets in, and I use both of them for gigging regularly. So this kind of flat riding, I should say, is common. If you listen to Pat Metheny, any kind of ECM older record, anything with Roy Haynes from the Chick Corea era, Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, that record, I think he uses an 18-inch flat ride on that one. So you'll hear this sound. It's very dry, very articulate, just a beautiful sound. Now some people don't like it. I don't know why. I love that sound. So today we're going to show you how to practice some rhythms and grooves using two flat rides. So instead of just demoing, I'm going to actually show you how I work on stuff with this. And a lot of it is just basic coordination. We're going to be using my book for this. And pages 21 through 29, you can use these ostinatos like I did in my samba coordination sequence. Today we'll focus on page 29, and I'll put it up on the screen here. And we're going to interpret it a little bit different than what's written. So the top line will be the right hand. The next line in the top line, which is normally the bass drum line, will be the left hand. And then we'll do the hi-hat as written. But the hi-hat line there as well can be the bass drum. Now, I know that's confusing, but I will write it out here and put it on the screen to show you the new version so you can adapt to it. So you can do a samba bass drum pattern, which would be this. Or you could do the bayonne pattern, which would be this. And you could move those accents around like I was doing there. So those will be the ostinatos we'll be working with today with these rhythms. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the top cymbal rhythm, like I said, and play that with your right hand, but the left hand's going to play two distinct rhythms. And those are going to be the rhythms number 9 and number 10 will work for this. Now they all work. So in other words, if you want to do number 7, by all means, feel free to do it, but we just don't have time today to go through all of them. I'm going to try to keep this under a half hour. If we just take number 1 with the right hand, that does this. And then we take number 9 with the left hand, it sounds like this. So you can start out by doing that. And then, this would be sort of the beginning introduction exercise. And just play quarter notes with your left foot. And that's number 10. So number 9 is this. And number 10 is this. And then if you want to go to page 7, in my book, the rhythms, you can play that with your foot. So we'll just start with this one. So. go through that page, and then you can go to page 8 and the same thing. So that's how I would start. And again, this isn't for beginners. I would say would be like an intermediate exercise. So you're playing these cymbal rhythms, again, 9 and 10 with your left hand, and just doing any one of these cymbal rhythms from 1 through 8 with your right hand. So if I combine number 3 with my right hand and number 9 with my left hand and just play that bass drum thing, we'll go back to page 7. And just quarter notes with your hi-hat. So we'll start out like this. The next thing that you would do is you would start working on things independently. So in other words, your right hand now would start playing some rhythms and your feet would play an ostinato. And by independently, I mean all of a sudden you're switching surfaces. So no longer are you relying on both these hands playing, one thing over and over. You're literally going to be soloing with your right hand now, while the left hand plays the ostinato, kind of like a left hand lead scenario. So let's try a Bayonne bass drum pattern, which would be this. If you want, you could leave that third beat out, so it's just like this. And let's pick a rhythm. Let's just do the same one for now, and then we'll switch up in a minute. So this is going to be our left-hand rhythm. So. So that's left-hand rhythm number 9, if you look at the page there. All right? And then the right hand is going to play these rhythms on page 8, but eventually improvise. So that's the first 3 lines. Now when you speed that up a lot, say 135 or so equals the quarter note, it sounds like this. So all of a sudden you have some pretty intricate rhythms. Now once again, I mentioned Pat Metheny before. If you listen to some of those records, the early ones with Danny Gottlieb, a good one is Travels, that's a live record. You'll hear him doing things like that. Paul Wertico in the later records does some beautiful stuff like that. I remember going to see Metheny live in New York with Paul Wertico, and it was just great, actually. And he was doing lots of that two-handed ride stuff. It's just beautiful. Because if you have a percussionist with you, they can be playing more kinds of drum things. And if you mix this with shakers and things like that, it's kind of this wall of sound, really transparent sound, upper sound, okay? And then what you want to do is just improvise. And you can use rudiments. They work really well, like flam taps, flam accents. I'll show you some of that. So there I did some triple stroke rows, some flam paradiddle diddles. Flam taps. And flam accents. So these are all ideas for you to explore. Now it doesn't have to be flat rides. You could use any rides. The flat rides just have a lot of impact and they're drier, so it sounds pretty neat when you do it. Okay, so that's how I think you should practice this. This is how I developed it with working on these exercises. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm just going to play a little, and we'll call it a day.